Have you ever stood across from a younger woman and thought, how do I flirt without feeling like I'm trying too hard? You're not alone. For many older men, subtle flirtation feels like walking a tightrope. One misstep, and you're either seen as irrelevant or inappropriate. Sound familiar? You want to connect. You want to express interest, but you also want to do it with class, confidence, and charm, not cheesy lines or forced humor. And yet, the biggest mistake isn't saying the wrong thing. It's doing nothing at all because you weren't sure how to begin. That ends today. This video will decode the elegant, powerful art of subtle flirtation. You'll learn how to blend maturity with attraction, wit with respect, presence with patience. Imagine walking into a room and making her smile without saying a word. Imagine her leaning in, not just because of your words, but because of your energy. That's what we're building today. Judging others yields absolutely no improvement. Mindfulness always takes real awareness. Navigating social changes requires intentional persistence too. So let's begin with purpose, clarity, and presence. You don't need to be flashy. You don't need to be trendy. What you need is timeless presence. When a man walks in with a tailored blazer, polished shoes, and posture that says, "I know who I am," he doesn't chase attention. He commands it. Picture this. You're meeting her for coffee. While most men show up in wrinkled t-shirts and aimless energy, you arrive with quiet poise. Your shirt is pressed, your voice calm. You offer her your full attention, not your phone, not a checklist. And when she smiles, it's not because you're loud, but because you're grounded. This is where sophistication speaks louder than charm. It's not just about how you dress, it's about how you carry yourself. Sophistication tells her you've lived, you've learned, and you've refined, not just your style, but your standards. Never underestimate the silent power of presence, because when you walk in like a man who doesn't need to prove anything, that's when she starts leaning in. Wit is the older man's secret weapon, not loud jokes, not slapstick antics, but the kind of clever, well-timed comment that reveals intelligence and creates instant chemistry. Imagine this. You're mid-conversation. She mentions a stressful week. Instead of offering a cliché response, you glance over and say with a smirk, "Sounds like your boss confused ambition with chaos again." She laughs, not because it's a joke, but because it's quick, thoughtful, and sharp. Wit is flirtation in disguise. It teases without offending. It challenges without pressure. And most importantly, it shows you see her, not just her words, but her energy, her meaning, her edge. Younger women are surrounded by guys trying to be funny. But wit, that's rare. That's earned. So use it well. Because when you make her laugh in a way that also makes her think, that's not just attraction, that's intrigue. This might be the most underestimated move in flirtation, and yet it's one of the most powerful. Why? Because most men listen to respond. Very few listen to understand. She's talking about her latest trip, her art, her struggles balancing career and self-care. And while others nod absent-mindedly, you lean in. You ask, "What made you choose that city?" Or, "Did painting help you make sense of it?" Suddenly she feels it. You're not just hearing her, you're seeing her. Listening is magnetic. It draws her in without effort. It's in your stillness, your curiosity, the way you remember the details she thought nobody noticed. When you ask follow-up questions, when you reflect what she said with sincerity, she doesn't just feel admired, she feels understood. And that's intimacy. So don't chase her attention. Earn it by offering yours fully and without agenda. Because when she feels heard, she starts wondering, what else could this man understand about me? Before you even speak, your body says something. The question is, are you aware of the conversation it's having? Subtle flirtation lives in the spaces between words. It's the way your eyes meet hers and hold. Just a moment longer than expected. It's the calm, open posture that says, "I'm grounded, I'm listening, and I'm interested." It's the smile, not forced, but warm, slow, and sincere, that lets her feel safe and seen. Picture this. You're walking side by side. She makes a quick joke. You smile, not just with your mouth, but with your whole expression. She touches your arm lightly during the laugh. You don't flinch, you don't overreact, you stay grounded. That, right there, is trust being built in real time. Nonverbal cues are how you say everything, without saying too much. They're respectful, they're magnetic, and they invite her in without pressure, so master your silence. Because when your presence speaks louder than your words, she starts leaning into the space you create. Flirtation without connection fades fast. But when you share something meaningful, that's when sparks turn into something lasting. It doesn't need to be a grand common passion. It could be music, books, travel, or even quiet moments over coffee. What matters is this: you care enough to ask and curious enough to explore. You're not just nodding politely, you're investing. Imagine this: she mentions she loves kayaking. Instead of bluffing, you say, "Never tried it, but I've always wanted to." What's it like to glide through water like that? Now you're not trying to impress, you're connecting. You're allowing her world to blend with yours. And if you share a hobby already, even better, invite her in. I usually hike alone, but I have a feeling you'd make the view twice as interesting. Shared interests create momentum. They shift things from light banter to deeper connection. And she starts picturing herself not just with you, but beside you. Because when it's more than attraction, when it becomes connection, flirtation transforms into real potential. A compliment is not a pickup line. It's not flattery for attention. It's an observation, honest, specific, and anchored in presence. Too many men make the mistake of praising only what's obvious: looks, clothing, or figure. But you take it further. You notice how her eyes light up when she talks about something she loves. You say, "I admire how passionate you get when you speak about your work." It's rare to see someone light up like that. Or maybe you tell her, "There's something about your sense of timing, like you always know when to lift the mood." That's a compliment that lingers. Real compliments touch something deeper. They don't just make her feel attractive, they make her feel seen. That kind of attention is powerful. It's rare. It makes you unforgettable. So don't scatter empty praise. Choose your words with care, because one sincere compliment can open a door no cheap line ever could. Here's the truth. Real attraction isn't built in a rush. It simmers, it grows. And for older men, patience isn't just a virtue, it's an advantage. Younger women notice when you're not in a hurry, when you're not pushing, forcing, or trying to speed up intimacy. Instead, you hold space. You let conversations unfold. You let her reveal herself at her own pace. And in doing that, you become different. You become safe and intriguing. Imagine this. After a lovely date, instead of texting her 5 times that night, you wait. You send one thoughtful message the next afternoon. "Still thinking about your take on that book. You made me see it differently." That quiet confidence, that control over timing, it makes you stand out. Patience tells her you're not chasing because you don't need to. You're choosing. That's powerful. So let attraction breathe. Because when you're calm and you're pacing, she starts wondering where this could go and hoping it leads somewhere meaningful. Subtle flirtation isn't about tricks, tactics, or cheesy one-liners. It's about presence. It's the art of showing interest without pressure, creating tension without force, and offering value without demand. By embracing sophistication, using wit, listening deeply, reading nonverbal cues, finding common ground, offering sincere compliments, and moving at a patient pace, you create something most younger men can't: a feeling of emotional safety, mystery, and timeless charm. This is where attraction grows, not in the flashy moments, but in the subtle ones. The glance, the thoughtful comment, the space you hold between what you could say and what you choose to say. Just overthinking yields avoidance. New ideas make actions. Thoughtful reflection allows natural strength. Clarity really improves persistence today. You already have the experience. You already have the substance. Now it's time to let that speak for itself and for you. If this resonated with you, if you're ready to flirt with confidence, subtlety, and depth, then don't let it stop here. This is just the beginning. There's more to discover, more to refine, and more connection waiting on the other side of awareness. So here's what to do next. Subscribe to Elderly Life for grounded, high-value advice made specifically for men like you. Comment below. What part of subtle flirtation feels most natural to you? What still feels uncertain? Your thoughts matter here. This is about becoming the man who doesn't chase, but attracts naturally. Let's keep building that together. See you in the next one.